What is up, Unity community, and welcome back to another official Unity live stream here on twitch.tv/Unity, and of course, the official Unity YouTube page. I ran out of breath. That's on me problem. But welcome on in, everybody. Thank you so very much for being here, whether you are watching on Twitch or YouTube. It's so fantastic to have you all. Again, we have a great stream planned for you all. We are going to be diving into what makes for fantastic narrative game design. We are being joined by two legends in the industry, and we will be playing Outer Wilds as a backbone for the conversation. So you've got a lot to look forward to and a lot to learn here. And more than anything, we're just going to have a little bit of fun. So again, wherever you are tuning in from, please let us know in the chat, whether you're on the Twitch side or the YouTube side. And we're seeing some familiar faces out here as well. Welcome on in to all of you. The Bull, Liz, Andrew, False Brackets here, Music, Rocks, no disagreements on that. Jelly Cube, everybody, good to have you. Welcome, welcome. Welcome. Again, if you have any questions or comments throughout the stream, please let us know. We are here live watching and paying attention to you. So this is what this is all about with these community spaces. That's what we want on these live streams. We are creating content that hopefully you come and connect with your fellow Unity community members and walk away feeling more informed, capable, and all of these fantastic things. If you are watching this video after the fact as a VOD on YouTube, please take a look down at that navigation bar, as we're going to have it conveniently chaptered out for you. You can skip ahead to whatever parts of the stream most appeal to you. But like I said, we've got a fantastic stream planned. Let us know in the chat where in the world you are tuning in from, as we want to, Robert K here in Earth, and that's a good start, and also oddly applicable to the game that we're going to be showcasing a little bit today. So congratulations, you've done well. But of course, as a community manager, it is my job to connect you, and to see where you are tuning in from all over the world is always a very, very happy, joyful moment for myself. So thank you, everybody, for being here. And I'm really excited to get into today's stream. So I think with my running out of breath and stumbling over my words, I think it's time to bring in a little bit of support. I clearly can't do it myself. So we're going to bring in our guests here, both first-time guests, and bring them the Unity community energy and warm welcome. I know you know how. Please say hello to Abhi and Remy. How are you both today?
I'm doing great.
Good.
Thank you so much for having us.
Good. Very excited to have you both. This one, Remy, you kept referring to it as Murphy's Law. This is a stream that we've been planning for a long time now, and things just kept going wrong. And I'm so very glad to have you both here with us. Things continuing to challenge, including today. Abhi, your power was off, or your internet was off?
My condo, they pulled the power for the entire building. So I'm at my friend's place right now.
So we're adapting on the fly, and I'm just grateful to have you both here. We have VG Junkie immediately calling out that there is a cat on screen. So that is fantastic news. Always excited to have a furry little friend alongside us here. Of course, before we really dive into today's stream, the content, the games, and all of that good stuff, we want to give everybody a little bit of an opportunity to get to know you all. So if you can kind of go through who you are, maybe not deep down to like your core and values. It doesn't have to be that deep, but like what you do, the games that you guys have created, and maybe your favorite game, that would be great as well. Abhi, why don't we go to you to get started on that one?
Yeah, I'll start with introducing the cat. That's Foss.
Please.
And there's another cat, if you're lucky enough, right behind the box to see him. It's Bob Garlic, and these are both my friend Sharon's cats. Myself, I'm much less interesting, but I'm Abhi. I run a small video game company called Visai Games, and our first game we released in 2023, and it was called Venba. And now we're working on our second one, and much like Venba, like our motto in the studio is to tell intimate stories with interesting mechanics. Which I think, a game like Outer Wilds is a humongous inspiration for that. And that's why I'm super excited to dive into it with Remy.
Yeah, I will say, for additional context for the Unity community, that as soon as we kind of brought this concept to you both, you were both like, Outer Wilds would be the game I would pick. And then you both were like, we might just like play this game and hang out. And I was like, honestly, that's kind of what the plan is. And like, if we spend a couple of minutes here and there asking some questions, and that's why we've got our lovely Unity community here, then I think we're doing it right. Unity community, I have put the Steam link for Venba in the chat. Please go and check out Abhi's game. It's an absolutely incredible one. Abhi, do you have a favorite video game yourself?
Yes. Yeah, I think unlike movies and music, I think there's like one singular game that I can cite as a humongous influence, and that is Shadow of the Colossus on the PS2. And I think specifically on the PS2, I will say. But yeah, I think that's a game that's had a really, really strong impact on me when I was playing it when I was, I think, 13. And what I think the game does really well is just through gameplay tell the entire story and challenge, makes the player feel scared, triumphant, and also guilty. But it does all of this without a single line of dialogue. And I think it's kind of a benchmark, and it's something we are still chasing to this day.
Awesome. I like that a lot. Shadow of the Colossus. You're right. Super impactful just by atmospheric storytelling, just by the journey that players are on. So excited to hear your both of your takes on the narrative genre. But turning our attention down to you there, Remy. Remy, tell us a little bit about yourself, your most recent game that you've put out. It's a game some people might have known about. You know what I mean? So tell us a little about your journey here.
Yeah, my name is Remy. And I'm did I do it okay? And I founded Sensei Visitor Studios, and I'm also the creative director here. Our first game, our debut game, came out last year. It's called 1000xRESIST, and what we're working on right now, I can't say as much, but yeah, like before that, I was working in the arts and kind of started video games around 2020. And I guess my favorite video game, I don't know. Abhi picked a really good one, and then we're like also playing Outer Wilds, and so I don't want to answer every question with Outer Wilds.
But if it is the answer to the question, that's okay too.
I would say Near Automata and Kentucky Route Zero are some of my favorite games.
Very, very cool. It's a question that I ask pretty much every guest that we have, thinking it's gonna, and I know now, like maybe at the beginning it was a surprise, but I know now where it was like initially this is the question. Everyone plays games, everyone's got a favorite game, and then every single guest, myself included, is like, I don't know that I could really pick a favorite. So I don't know if I'll ever decide to stop asking that question, but that's where we are. So again, we also put the link to the Steam page for 1000xRESIST in the chat as well. So please go and check that out, Unity community. I promise you will not be disappointed. Remy, you guys recently won a Peabody. Is that correct?
Yes.
So this game is, let's call it highly decorated. So very, 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 very deep game for you all to dive into. Very cool too. Remy, can you tell us a little bit about the story behind you all coming together to create it? Was it spurred on by the pandemic? I know you mentioned kind of 2020 is when you guys started creating it.
Yeah, mostly because many of us were either from the arts or performing arts or outside of video games, but specifically me, like before 2020, the way that I guess we would live or make a living is to tour kind of new media performing arts works to different parts of the world. Of course, during the pandemic, that was like very not possible. So that was the switching to making video games and trying to kind of translate a lot of our practice and interests to video games. Even though, like, it's something that I've like played video games since I was quite young, and was really always wanted to make games, but it was kind of very difficult for people to do that, like in the 90s.
Yeah. Not necessarily an approachable genre or not hobby, but profession at that time. So glad to see those barriers kind of coming down, and I'm so grateful that Unity helps be a part of that equation and that solution for people. So we've got a number of people already hanging out in chat. The conversation's already flowing around exactly what a narrative game is. People are providing their own examples and samples, but we want kind of to have today's conversation while we're playing Outer Wilds. And I know you both are real excited to dive in and get into it. So if you want to, we can fire it up, get started. As long as you guys feel comfortable multitasking a conversation while playing games, then we can kind of dive in here. So I suppose we will request of Jack to get us. There we go. Oh, interesting. I'm getting audio, but now I'm not. That's fine. We fixed it. Okay, so this is Outer Wilds. If anyone has not played Outer Wilds, it is a space exploration game with a time loop. Since you both are super passionate Outer Wilds fans, I have played and finished this game, but I don't think I love it the way that you guys love it. How would you describe this game to people?
I think Outer Wilds is a game that fundamentally drives and depends on the player's curiosity to unravel and experience the story. And I think it is one of those rare games where you have moments of true wonder, true exploration, and really delightful surprises. And the game doesn't hold you. There's a mystery to solve, but there's so much more also. And just like it does so many things well that you can uncover in any kind of clue in a non-linear fashion, but they all kind of clue into this bigger picture about this universe that you're in, and ultimately it tells a very human story about hope and tragedy, and what do you do in the face of something that's very inevitable, that we should all kind of relate to because we also live in a very similar universe, I think.
Yeah.
Wow, that was a good description.
I love it. I'm like, you explore space. There's time problems, but no, that's fantastic. So we can kind of start, and Remy, feel free to just fire away and hop in and play, and we'll talk. And if you need to show us specific things, let us know. We'll just kind of keep it free flowing here. But the question that we see is, how do you define a narrative game? A lot of games carry a narrative, but what makes a game narratively focused as opposed to the narrative as a component of a game?
Oh man, I'm gonna get so smooth brained when I play this that I want to answer that question.
Multitasking stuff. If we want to do a thing where Remy, as you're playing, Abhi can answer more questions, that's totally okay too. But we know between the two of you, the wealth of knowledge and experience that you have and success that you found in the genre, we have the answers in the room. You know what I mean?
I mean, I think Outer Wilds is a really interesting example of this because, I would call Outer Wilds a narrative game, but at the same time, it's extremely mechanically rich. And that is not to say that I think narrative games need to be extremely mechanically rich. But I think one of the things, that Outer Wilds and other narrative games really need is there's based on the name, a real dependence on. Oh shoot! Hold on.
No!
Yeah. Give me a second. A real dependence on curiosity driving the player, and in a way that's perhaps not always mechanical. And the reason why we all pray at the altar of Outer Wilds is that it seemingly does both of these things in a really graceful way, and kind of marries this diegetic being the world on the screen inside of the screen. Sorry. Okay, give me. I can't.
You can focus in on the landing. That seems important. That's a high stress situation.
I better put my suit on. Oh my god. it marries this diegetic world and the gameplay mechanics in a way where it really collapses, I guess, what we would call, and I know people sometimes roll their eyes at this term, but like ludonarrative dissonance. Like you literally do what you do in this game mechanically and as part of the story.
Story, yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's no abstraction, is what you're talking
Yes.
about, right? Like
Yeah,
there's no contrivance, or yeah.
Okay. I've come to Brittle Hollow. So for people who don't know about Outer Wilds, like we are in the part of the game past the tutorial. If you haven't played Outer Wilds, this is like a huge spoiler. So maybe pause now and don't oh god, I can't do this. Like, how do people do this? How do people talk and play games at the same time?
Remy learns Twitch streamers have a hard job today.
Yeah. TIL. Okay.
Oh, I think you're muted, Jackson.
That's a good point. Thank you for calling it out. I was saying, Remy, you're doing a great job. Don't worry about it. What we can do is we can stop and start a conversation. You can stop in the middle of a sentence. You can, whatever needs to happen. There's very low stakes here. But if you want to focus in on narrating your gameplay, you can do that as opposed to responding to questions. And maybe I can direct them at Abhi to kind of help us out here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just quickly to finish the thought. This is after we've done the tutorial. And so we are in the loop. So for people who don't know what that means, maybe you should play the game before watching us. But yeah.
My partner is watching the stream, and like in one hand I'm like really happy, but in another hand, like she hasn't played it yet, so I don't. I'm like, I don't know when she should stop watching, but we'll see. It's definitely a game that I think you can. It's the type of game that I think you wish you can forget so you can experience it all over again. Yeah.
When I played it, I streamed it for my own community, and it was my first time playing it. And the number of people in the Outer Wilds community that arrived to just basically be like, you can really only experience this game for the first time once, right? So I'm in to experience it through other people and live vicariously through them. So it is. I don't know if that's a sign of great narrative game design where you wish you could forget it all so you could re-experience it. But I think it says a lot about the game itself for sure.
Sorry, Remy.
No, go ahead. I'm cheating here because I can pause the time loop based on to read this. So.
Oh yes, speedrunner exploits. I think this is a fundamental one of the things I really like about this game is that there are, I think, essentially 3 different cultures and 3 different species that you see. One species is your own, and then the other are the Nomai, whose text Remy is reading right now. But even here, there's so much thought put into like how a species and a culture preserves their text and how they present it to the player. And I think that is a really beautiful example of narrative design, right? Like when you're like, the text here serves 2 purposes, right? Like it serves a gameplay purpose of like communicating to the player, like important knowledge and all of that. But the first time I was playing the game and I was reading these spiral threads left by the Nomai, it's extremely distinct, the way it branches and all of that. And they've really put a lot of thought into like, okay, if this is a completely different species, how would their language be? How would they document their thoughts? And by making it so distinct, but also in a weirdly, it's very efficient also. It just gives the Nomai so much more personality, so much more impressionability, and it's one of the details that I really love about the game.
Yeah. Remy, you are you taking a path right now in the game that would be like when you start the game, or using kind of like the pre-existing knowledge that we've carried here to kind of showcase specific things, just out of curiosity?
I am just going where it's taking me.
Perfect.
I have no
Perfect.
specific. Okay. Well, I could wait for one event. I do remember one thing here.
Yes.
I mean, like environmentally, though, like you do learn a lot from this design, and I know that this is like something that Mobius had talked about on um, No Clip, I believe.
Mm.
But really, there's like it's very clear where there are sites of interest, and I think that was a challenge in general for this game because if this game looked extremely detailed, um, there's so much of it that it would be very difficult to know kind of where to go. In this case, I guess you see the detail of it is like quantized for you a little bit. Um, and so here, there's something there. Oh God. That, whoa, you're like, what the hell is that? So all these things that are going on that really pique your curiosity, or even here in the text when we were looking at it, if you're coming here for the first time and accidentally stumble upon it, it's like you have a curiosity of what is the tower of quantum knowledge, and what is this quantum moon they talk about.
Right.
And so there's like this way about speaking about some of these things that kind of trust the audience or trust the player that it's enough to be curious about it.
Yeah.
And versus like, maybe explaining here what the quantum moon actually is, which I suppose would not be the point. Mm-hmm.
So I've never asked for clarity on this in my existence, but when people say emergent storytelling, is that like referring to kind of the discoverability over time and player agency kind of leading to the story unraveling that way? Is that safe to say, or am I using it wrong?
Should I
go
leave?
for it.
Okay.
Yeah. I think emergent storytelling, to me at least, means something a little bit different, which is like, for example, right now, like Remy is exploring this world, right? And Remy, like watching Remy go through this itself is a story, right? And like, he might crash his ship and like he might just survive, and like his fuel might be low, his oxygen might be low. And like the story he's saying as a player is like, oh, I barely survived, but right before the loop ended, I got to meet this person, right? And that's the game systems allow for Remy to have that kind of experience, and that emerges from the mechanics that he's interacting with.
Got it.
But the game story itself is quite set. Like the story it's saying, what's happening in the universe. That's not as emergent, and that's something that it's pretty solid. Now, Remy wasted one marshmallow. Like that's part of his emergent story here. And I think there are games that lean into it, and there are games that lean away from it. I think, for example, like Venba, I think is a very linear, non-emergent story. But I think, like Remy pointed out, Outer Wilds does a beautiful job of like balancing both. Because I remember when I was working at before I started working on my own game, I was part of this mobile game studio, and when Outer Wilds came out, we would talk about it at lunch, and the lunch table would be filled with stories about how the player stories that we would have about how we found certain things, how and no two players' experience is the same in Outer Wilds. And it's really beautiful how the game itself has like a really tremendous story to tell, but it also gives you space to like fill that in. It's quite amazing.
And I also want to say that here, like, we're in the middle of quite a hostile environment where we see pieces of the planet kind of like being sucked into this black hole. I guess if you didn't see that earlier, but from a mechanical place and like a place of storytelling, you hear this music and you go into this space, and it says trees detected, oxygen tank refilled. There is a bit of storytelling here in that we kind of know quite quickly that this person is safe, or you get a sense of safety from both this environment or person, and you can do with that what you will. when you give that to the player, where it's like either this person's really quite friendly, which they are, or of course you could subvert that and you probably scare them here, right? So, but Outer Wilds is actually a gentle game, so I think
I mean, I had some moments where I was high.
Yeah, but
that's
the harshness of the universe, perhaps.
Yeah, I think Echoes also delves into maybe more
yes
specialized harshness.
Well, but they wouldn't trick you into being safe.
Yeah,
and pull the rug out under you.
Yes, that's not the intention.
Yeah, which is kind of something that can be done as a narrative tool, but yeah, I mean, the choices that you make as a designer and storyteller, I think that's completely up to you in that regard.
Yeah, and even I think a big part of that in like making something as scary as like space exploration feel inviting is the design of I forget what are our own species called, Remy.
Oh, the Harthians.
Harthians, yeah. Their design is very it's really cool. Like the Noma is like, they have all these high tech kind of things, but the design of Harthians is it's kind of familiar. It's very Western. One thing that's very, very heartfelt about this game is that at any point you can point your signal scope and listen to your crewmates playing the radio. And that's just, there are times when I've just flown into space and tried to line all of them up just so I can hear that. And when I choose to do that in a loop, that's me spending precious time and doing that. But I want to because the game allows for that. And like if you notice, I think earlier when Remy was equipping the translator, there was it looks like radio buttons and everything, and all of that gives it a very I hate to use the word cozy, but like a very cozy atmosphere, I think. But yeah, I think Remy's absolutely right. They could have. These are extremely conscious choices. Here we go.
Well, no, I'm gonna try a slingshot around to this thing.
This is breaking my brain a little bit.
I always thought it's cool that the UI also gets warped.
Oh yeah. That's really cool. Oh no. Okay.
No, you can do it. You can do it.
There, you're safe.
I got it here.
Very impressive. I never would have figured that out. 0% chance.
I guess I'm back here. I might as well wait for something to happen.
I got a question for you guys from the audience here. Mergery Wanjiru asks, as a developer, how do you go about implementing great narrative in a way that it boosts the mechanics? Is there any advice you guys can share in terms of is the approach easier one way or the other in terms of using your narrative to enhance game mechanics, or vice versa? Or is it something that should be kind of developed hand in hand along the way?
That's a good question.
Is it super specific to whatever project you're working on?
I mean, it seems like a cop out to say, but I feel like it's very super specific. But like, Abhi, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it has to be I think it has to be super specific, and I think it's actually, yeah, this is a whole topic that I can talk about, which is, and this really bugs me when a lot of games do that, which is like, they take a mechanic from a game that they think is cool, and they're like, oh, I'll take this mechanic, I'll take that mechanic, and then I'll put it all together in a game with the narrative that I want to give. But often mechanics come with emotional baggage. And, like mechanics are designed with emotions, like whether you be like it or not. Like a shooter has a very specific kind of emotion, and and all of that. And you have to be very intentional about like when you bring a mechanic into the game, you're not just bringing the mechanic in isolation. You have to think about like, what else am I bringing with it? How does this make the player feel? And all of that. So to answer your question, yes, it goes hand in hand. It is very super specific. There might be like some design friction that you're introducing on purpose for the player to experience. A recent example is I played a game called over the weekend. I played a game called In Stars and Time, which is another time loop game. and the game towards the end makes you do a lot of almost tedious chores, and it was putting me in a state of mind that actually mimicked what my character was going through. Because my character was getting quite frustrated about being stuck in a time loop by that time. They exhausted all avenues, and then I realized like that is so masterfully well done, you know. And there's a lot of like instinct in us to kind of iron out that friction. And For I think another example I can think of is if you look at Ico, which is made by my favorite game designer.
Mhm.
It's a game where you escort a person throughout the entire story. But it's truly the game. The story is about that, but the gameplay is truly about that also. You really have to escort this person. They You have to like handhold them. You have to, like, they can't climb ladders without you, uh, and that introduces a lot of friction. And I feel like there are games since then that have had similar stories about like a father escorting a son, or like a father figure escorting somebody else. They are so The designers and narratives people are so keen on making you like um, the NPC you're escorting. They're afraid to introduce that friction. They make
Sure.
them invisible to enemies. They make them like
Right.
they teleport so that you don't have to wait for them. But if you make the player wait for them, that just goes so much deeper in like the player establishing a real connection, because then there's disobedience that the NPC has, that makes them feel more real, than them just following you like one to one, like a game object. Yeah.
No, I love it. There's a lot of conversations happening in chat right now, which I love to see. Obviously, when people bring questions to us and our guests and we can kind of address them, that's lovely. But to see people kind of just carry on their own conversation in the chat, it's lovely. But I want to jump into it a little bit here. Someone mentioned kind of finding the balance in storytelling between, text, voice lines, and cutscenes. Do you have any advice for how to kind of strike that balance and maybe hit an emotional resonance while trying to tell your story? Like, do each of them carry their own strengths? Is there a situation in which you would say one is better than the other?
I think Remy is best equipped to answer this.
Oh, um, sorry, can you say the question?
We sure can. You're all good. You stay laser focused on this, and I love it. But I will give it to you again, or we can also postpone it and come back to it when.
Yes, can
when
we come
switch
back to
players.
that one, please?
We can come
Because
back to it. All right.
yeah,
No
that
trouble
one
at
is
all.
yeah.
We
Whatever
got you,
that
we got you.
was, that is something that Remy will answer.
No problem at all.
Yeah.
So Remy, walk us through where in the world you are and how you got here.
So it seems like I mean, I know where we are, but it seems like we are in a city of some kind, and the planet still keeps collapsing. Interestingly, again, this game uses I to a certain extent kind of talking about the other question that was asked, where it's like every time we have trees, um, and you get your oxygen tank refilled, it serves both as a kind of like interesting checkpoint, um, to kind of tell the player that like, oh, something is here or something. But then also from a storytelling place, like either somebody is here or someone used to live here because they needed oxygen.
Right.
So I think that's always an interesting tool. Like here, for example, we come down here and we're like, okay, in this case, we had seen life previously with the other character, but here, you get that oxygen kind of UI prompt, and you hear but you look at the city and you're just like, okay, this is obviously something is not right. So
Mm-hmm.
it does do that subversion that I was talking about previously, but still in a gentle way, without like really like say like jump scaring you or anything like this.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of I think the balance of I think it was the balance of cutscenes and dialogue, and I think that's really different for every game. Like, and I mean, obviously, it comes down to, of course, your budget as well, because no game has an infinite budget, and so you really have to come to rotate around or orbit around this kind of this specific solution that may be different for everybody else. Like if you go look at a game like something like Citizen Sleeper, that game is so well scoped in how much story and how it can tell, um, and so that I guess what I'm trying to say is that for every game, and also for either your own project or you as a game developer or storyteller, perhaps there is a combination of things that create a kind of apparatus for you to do storytelling, and it may be different from each game, and that's something that perhaps you have to discover for yourself what that particular mix is. And a good example of an apparatus, even from like say like a non-game perspective or from a linear perspective, I always talk about something like Star Trek. Like Star Trek is not just the setting; it's also the apparatus of the bridge itself. It's like the bridge itself is a vehicle in which you can tell so many different types of stories, and
Right.
which is why it's something it works, I feel. And that's something kind of like a combination of mechanics and a combination of how your game might express narrative, um, to kind of discover that for yourself, and then find that balance that feels right. I know that that's a harder answer. There's no real right answer to this. I'm just gonna
No,
go in
of
this
course.
because I hear the music.
Oh
Um,
no.
oh,
Was it stressing you out?
no, but I guess we get to take a look at the sun on this one. Yeah,
Ah.
He's just optimizing for content. Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
um, yes. So I don't know if Abhi, you have thoughts. I know we both have a lot of thoughts about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is my
Absolutely.
ship.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things, right? Like, I think even here, like Outer Wilds manages so many emotions in so little time. Like, just looking at my ship fills me with a sense of comfort. Like just knowing that it's close by, especially when you jumped into the black hole and then you see your ship. It's a pleasant surprise.
There was
Um,
also an amazing framing of this thing when you come through the black hole. Anyways, here we go.
Yeah, yes, yeah, for sure. And it's these kind of little experience, like Outer Wilds does a lot of narrative heavy lifting through like in-game moments, instead of cutscenes. And I think like that is something I'm very much like very much I look up to. I think as much of the story should be told through in-game mechanics as much as possible. And like cutscenes are also like really great, and like like my game has a lot of cutscenes. Some people say it's only cutscenes, but the but like I think when you're trying to make a game, there's like in movies we have show don't tell, right? Like so similarly I feel like games, like we do need to think about like what are some stories that are better told through the mechanics than just cutscenes. But like yeah, it's super specific
Yeah.
per game.
Yeah, of course. As it often is, right? Like we can ask, hey, what's the best shooting mechanics? And it's like, well, what's your game? Like, how does it fit into it? But like, yeah, just being able to kind of speak broadly and generally towards it, I think is really, really helpful. Remy, do you want to
We can switch
explain
off.
the time
Oh,
loop?
should we? Oh, the time loop. This
Since
time loop.
we hit the end of one, right?
Yeah. So, after playing the tutorial of this game, you don't actually know. Like I didn't know the first time I played this game that the sun goes nova seemingly, um, and you get reset into this time loop, which is about like 22 minutes long, I believe.
Mhm.
And well, I guess that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always wondered, to this date I wonder how they do the flashback sequence, like each time you loop, like you seeing everything.
Oh
Like
yeah, I guess they're taking a screenshot as we go.
yeah, are they taking a screenshot? Are they storing cameras in those spots and then rendering it? I'm not sure. But one thing I noticed, which is super cool, is that the first time, every time you die and you see the sequence before the time loop, it plays all your events backwards. like you see the last thing you did first, and then it's which is a really cool framing to like this loop. Like, what did you do with this loop kind of thing? But the first ever time the Nobai syncs with you, you actually see that sequence forwards, which is really interesting. I think that's another thing this game does really well, which is like pack a lot of detail into all of its mechanics.
Mm-hmm. Remy, I know you mentioned switching off. Do we want to trade places now, or again, if you wanted to keep going, it's up to you.
Where are we at in the total?
We're about 40 minutes in, so we probably got another 45-ish to go.
Okay.
So it's totally up to
What do
you.
you think, Abhi?
Yeah, I could show off the stranger, and then I can switch back to you, and then you can try to do the full loop.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Speed run
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me crash this.
Oh,
let me try to make a run at the Sun Station, and then I'll.
I'll put up the game meanwhile.
Yeah.
And while you guys do that, I'll chat with our Unity community here, reminding you all that we're live on these channels usually twice a week. Keep an eye out on the YouTube page, as that is probably your best bet for understanding when we are live. Of course, youtube.com/unity/streams. We are bringing you a ton of content, whether it's technical or engine not specific and just game design specific, like we are today. There's a lot for you to learn here, and always a good opportunity to connect with the Unity community as well. So come on back anytime. If you are joining us in motion right now, we are hanging out with Remy and Abhi and playing Outer Wilds, talking about narrative game design. If you did not catch the front end of the stream, it will be available as a VOD on the YouTube channel after the fact. So make sure to come on back and check that out. We do have a couple of questions that I've been kind of queuing up that we can get to later in the stream as well. No. Right now, we're getting pulled into the sun.
I tried.
There we go. Is that the moment that we want to make the switch over?
Yeah, we can switch.
Sounds great. And as we do that, I do want to ask, not necessarily to put a spotlight on any specific games, but for your own experiences, have you discovered any common missteps that people have when trying to hit like an emotional resonance in games and come up a little bit short? Anything to the effect of like, if I were to go and be like, I'm about to make my first narrative game, something you would be like, hey, be real cautious around, anything to that effect?
I think I can think of a few examples. I don't want to name like exact games or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes in open world games, what I see is like, you have the structure of doing side quests and main missions and things like that, right? Mm-hmm. But as you're progressing through the main mission, your character should hopefully grow and change. And let's say like some humongous tragedy has just happened to the character, right? The game has an opportunity to do a narrative slam dunk here by disallowing the player from wanting to do side quests, like, or even trying to do side quests. Because in that moment, maybe you don't want to do side quests, right? Like, but what often happens is that, and I think this happens in bigger teams because the narrative design team is a different team than the gameplay team or the side quest team. So there must have been some humongous tragedy, like my entire family died. And then there's a side quest where I'm like helping a grandma, and like my voice sounds like super normal. I'm like, hey, I'm here to help, all of that. But
right,
it's kind of a whiplash. And it's frustrating because like the chance to do that slam dunk is right there by just having the player walk away from doing side quests or turning down side quests, right? And it's just like it's using the systems that are already there to tell the story even more, like putting the player in the character's shoes, that I see missed a lot. So I think that's once again a symptom of like competing motivations. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I also would, I would say the same. And I think when it comes to, narrative games. Actually, I still feel like it is an emergent genre, like,
Mhm.
because to a certain extent we had, I was talking about this with another developer recently. It's like we have point and click, we had point and click adventure games, we have visual novels, we have all of these kind of story where story is emphasized, like even JRPGs are, and or CRPGs, or um, story is emphasized. But I think narrative games as a kind of umbrella for a lot of these things, and what exactly their priorities are and what they focus on, does seem to me still somewhat emergent. And this is like, what Abhi was saying is like something very clear, in that, like, okay, are you a narrative game in this context? Like, and if I feel like in this emergent genre of narrative game, you have an opportunity in the scenario that Abhi just spoke about to really dig in and commit and make a bold choice, um, about something that happens in the world of the game and how it may affect the other mechanics, right? And to a degree, I feel like sometimes, um, trying to, again, I don't like drawing boundaries, but say, like, if maybe this is not a narrative game and it doesn't have those priorities, maybe what you would focus on is, oh wow, you're already in the stranger, specifically, maybe something that's mechanically, the logic of progression, the logic of what you might do or what the game may allow is strictly mechanical. Um, but in the situation where, yeah, some large tragedy happens, maybe there's a consequence, and a felt consequence, in the way that the game plays or the way that the game continues, that that makes that feel very strong. Like, this is a great,
Yeah.
this, for example, is like a
Yeah.
good example of this, where it's
Yeah.
like, this just slaps you in the face.
Face. Yeah.
So
I
like, this
was.
is like the beginning of a DLC, and like they
Yeah.
have all of this tech to do this scanning and everything like this, and it's such a huge part of this last game. And the first thing they do when they bring you to this
Yeah.
stranger is they slap you in the face, and they're like, you can't, this is
Read
not,
it. Yeah, I
yeah,
think
this is
this
not
is
how
why
the
I
story's
paused
going to be
here
delivered.
to
Yeah.
point out this exact thing, right? Which is like,
Mhm.
you have a lot of comfort in like, so there's so much. Actually, this is a slam dunk, in my opinion, because the species that have built the stranger are completely opposite to the Noma, in the sense that like they don't want to be found. They want to be left alone, and that's kind of their entire thing. And the Noma, by comparison, are very warm and very eager to share their knowledge, while the strangers are very protective. And just by using the existing mechanic that is there in the game already, they're getting a lot of like narrative mileage, I like to call it, from
This
that.
is a huge subversion.
Yeah,
It's such a great moment. I keep
Yeah.
and
yeah,
it's a quiet one too. You're just walking up to it, and you have an expectation, right? You have this expectation you're going to scan it because that's what you've been taught. It's the same color as the things you scan in other cases, and then, um, yeah. Sorry,
yeah.
I cut you off.
Yeah, yeah, no, exactly. We are saying the same thing, and I think like
Yeah,
it instills a feeling into the player. Like first, for the first time, like this is something unknown. This is something alien. This is something you don't know about, right?
yeah.
And you don't ever feel that in Outer Wilds of the base game. And similarly, there's a lot of heavy lifting here, which is this is both a game design and a narrative design slam dunk, in my opinion. Um, in They are introducing a new main mechanic here, like a new system, which is the use of light. And the to even enter the stranger, you need to use light, right? And there's no way to enter it without it, which is a classic um, game design trick. But the neat thing is, it also speaks to the personality of the people here, right? There's a lot of like playing with darkness and playing with like
Cool.
off, yeah. So which I really love. And once again, already here you're using light to like
Look up.
uh
Look
look,
up.
yeah,
Whoa. That's not what I expected. That hurts my head a little bit.
yeah. Thanks, Remy, for reminding me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, there's so much. Like I was thinking about this when you first wake up in the campfire. that is a loaded narrative moment. There's I think I can't think of a single game I think which has more going on in its opening frame
Yeah.
than Outer Wilds. It doesn't waste anything.
No.
Yeah.
It's also so wild that I mean, I guess you don't I don't know if I should spoil why exactly that opening. I'll
Ghost
keep
matter detected nearby sounds daunting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see what you're trying to do.
Yeah, I wonder if I should. Yeah, let me. Should I? Yeah, let me do it. Um, I think I'm pretty sure. Go here. Oh, my raft is gone. Okay, it's fine.
Did it just float away?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. There's also like the architecture of this world is very different, and in some ways, I think like even more advanced than Nomai. Nomai things, right? Like, and the
Definitely more
fact that
gothic.
yeah, right, and all of that, I think, are very conscious choices. Oh, that's the place. Okay, before I go there, I think the projectors are here.
Yeah.
I think here you can see. Okay. Oh yeah. I'll show the door. Man, it's making me emotional. So you can open the door once again by like shining a light on it, right? And
Hmm.
then and it's interesting that it's the eclipse that opens it, right?
Mm.
And like the stranger itself is an eclipse, and that's how you find it.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
and but also like once again it shows like when you're hiding the light, that's how the door opens, which is an interesting choice, but it kind of speaks to what the species is trying to do in this universe, which is um not trying to share knowledge. Like they're afraid of the truth, right? And they're doing everything in their power to stop it, which is very different than what the Nomai are doing, which I thought these mechanical choices are not like they carry a lot of narrative weight, and that's not by accident.
Mm.
And similarly here, if the Nomai uses like text to communicate, the strangers use like projection reels.
Oh,
um
cool.
you know and once again, light is once again a part here, right? Like you need light
Right.
to see it, you need darkness to see it, which I think is super cool. Sorry, I'll stop gushing.
No, I mean, ultimately, that's part
Can
of the
we
reason
see
we're
the
here.
projection? Is there a way to do it right now? I
Yeah,
forget.
I need to get
Yeah.
a lantern, I think. Let me do that.
Oh, okay.
Let me do
Right.
that.
I
Oh,
did
there's
not
another one.
explore the. Oh, okay. I didn't explore the DLC, so this is actually all new. Very,
Mm.
very new to me.
Oh no. Should I get into the thing, Remy, or is that too much of a spoiler, you think?
No,
I
I
mean,
mean,
what?
like at this point, I think if people have, except for Jack, I'm sorry, Jackson, you're gonna get.
Oh, after.
I think for people who are watching, if they can tune out now if they don't want more Outer Wilds spoilers.
Yeah.
Um,
Both Remy and I think, and Remy, correct me if I'm wrong, like we love Outer Wilds, but like Echoes
mhm.
is like hits a
Yeah,
different note for sure.
yeah,
Yeah, it's kind of how you see
nice.
it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Then the interface.
Oh man.
oh, cool.
The
Oh,
Some of the best soundtrack in the game
Yeah.
also.
This
yeah.
is also so riveting,
Yeah.
and it makes you turn it right. It makes you turn it. Is that
I
right?
was
Yeah.
gonna say you're
Yeah.
actively
Yeah.
navigating through each frame.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're doing this obfuscation thing where like
Yeah.
some reels are burned. There's
Oh,
like
yeah.
there's a mystery there, and that's really cool. And then if I use the other reel, which I hope, yeah, I left it here. Okay, so This is
Mm.
Oh.
Mm.
Okay.
I love that. I love that.
That's
Like
so good.
you hear the music, and
Yeah.
like when it burns, you stop hearing the music also.
Yeah, yeah. And it's funny because it's also something that you are doing.
Yes.
You instigate the next frame and then it
Yeah. This I think is the most horror-esque Outer Wilds has been, and that's very much intentional. But it did, like, I'm not a person who can play horror games very easily, and it
Same.
goes and it goes to show how much I think both of us love Outer Wilds that we like stuck with this. Yeah,
That we just stick through the horror of this.
yeah.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
that is a really good point, actually. If something is about to scare you off and it's not typically your genre you enjoy, but you're willing to push through it, I guess it speaks volumes about it.
Yeah, I did meet Alex Beecham, and I told them that Outer Wilds allowed me to discover my phobia of large celestial objects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's helpful.
And here's a mechanic, one of the early secrets you find out, I think, which is that these things, you can kind of open them by enshrouding them in darkness. And then, so once again,
Oh, whoa.
This is scary.
spoilery, sorry about that. But
No, that's very cool.
No, I said scary.
yeah, oh, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, like
And-
what? Whoa.
And here's the thing, this is completely horrifying.
Yeah.
Right? But it's just presented to you. Like
It's also very there's no music.
there's nothing.
No, yeah.
Yeah. And this is, I'm sorry, I'm getting more and more spoilery, but you can, how do you do this again?
You have to like oh.
Oh, I thought you light it here, no?
Roast? Oh no, then oh yeah, did we do it?
Yeah, I did it. Okay. Oh, that's how you
nice.
do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love this moment because you.
Oh, that's so freaky.
Yeah,
Sorry,
and you
go
don't
ahead.
even realize it until, and then you're like, wait, where are they all? Are they alive now?
Oh, yeah.
What happened? And then, and the game has a massive reveal here, but it's not telling you anything. It's for you to figure this out. And here's the thing: I don't have my jetpack.
Yeah.
Right. And
so that's another thing, like as a narrative tool, just taking things away from people, right? Like I think in games we're so focused sometimes on giving players things, maybe taking things away from players is also a gesture that you can do when you're trying to do storytelling.
It was part of the conversation that was happening in chat, which was really cool to see. But some people kind of saying like a lot of games are afraid to take away from the player, but at the same time, as you guys are saying, it really
that's just something that you
formula.
can do in games that's very difficult to do in other mediums,
exactly.
you know?
Like you're not taking advantage of it if you're not doing that. And here you can see the light mechanics. You have a lantern here, obviously, and I don't know, you might have noticed that I've lit candles by focusing light on them.
Oh, right.
And it's cool because there's a very narrative reason why you're able to do these things in this world. And this part, I think, if you watch this, it just kind of like turns off that object itself. Oh, yes. Okay. So I'm gonna go now because I just heard the dam breaking. And then I'm gonna come out. Oh, watch this. Oh, yeah. So I thought I could show that moment, but similar to like the brittle hollow that Remy was showing, this world is also not static, right? It changes through your loop, and it is with the themes of like things are always changing, things are always fragile, and in a way for this, once you figure out the story of like what's happening in this DLC, it's very tragic because the lengths that the people that inhabit this world have gone to kind of delay the inevitable,
It's a
ends
little
up
bit.
not working. So I'm just gonna ride the raft for the.
Yeah, I think what's also very interesting is that you saved yourself. You heard the dam breaking, but like if you hear that sound, usually if it's your first time doing what Abhi did, um, you would you would die. You would drown, and you wouldn't know. I mean, like this is something. It's like always kind of like one of the things that's quite nice about I guess this medium in general is being able to like I guess enact things onto the player in such a way, right? It's not so much always just what the the player can do at any given moment. I mean, that's a big focus of a lot of stuff, but what can you also enact onto the player in with the things with the tools that you have or in the environment that you have and surprise them or have it behave in ways that I also what I really love about Outer Wilds in general is that it's somewhat hostile to you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And one of my um pet peeves, I guess, is that or something that doesn't resonate with me at least is when people in these games or the world itself are like perhaps too nice to you or always, to a degree kind of strangely affirming you. Um whereas this world I think is always in tension and friction with you and I always find that interesting.
Yeah, like it's a feeling that like the world, like in other games, they kind of exist to service the player,
Mm,
but here the world exists with or without you, right? Like
yes,
these things
yes.
happen. Yeah.
Yeah. And you really feel that.
We have a comment from Elper in the YouTube chat says Outer Wilds was my biggest inspiration when writing my postgraduate thesis while studying game design at university. So I think you two are not alone in your
Oh, for
love and
sure.
your feeling of this being an exemplary experience.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing is this game itself was a thesis.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
It was made much to my shame as a university project, and as a thesis on game design, which I don't know what grade they got, but it better be,
Could you imagine? They're
yeah,
like, C plus.
C
I
And
plus.
still
we're
think
like,
the original prototype is out there somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonder where I can get the reels this time. Oh shit, are they? Oh, I think this is a area maybe where I might be wrong, but like you couldn't access before the water submerges because of the coastline.
uh, Remy, to your point of like a hostile environment, it like we mentioned the time loop resetting, but there's also a lot of ways that you can die. And they can be stressful and you can continue to find new ones 20, 30, 40 hours into experiencing the game. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that I really do think provides like a relatively unique experience in a lot of in a game where, in the genre, you don't see it a whole lot.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that Abhi and I always talk about with Outer Wilds is I think, just the scenario in which the game presents. Um, we often are asking like, is that like the terminal what's the word for it? Terminal destination for say like trying to collapse ludonarrative dissonance
Yeah.
in the way that games how we understand games, right? Because the game in many ways still exhibits and has and treats a lot of the things that we know about games commonly like death and a loop and all these various other kinds of more gamey, quote unquote, gamey things um, as all diegetic. There are diegetic reasons for it, and so like at this point, it does that so well, and it's so well collapsed. It's like, is there,
Is this the ultimate form? Yeah.
is well, yeah, in a way that's not like, obviously no, but like also is this the most that we can get out of our current understanding of video games as they are, and do we have to increase our understanding of what video games are, or what games are, what the medium is, and what it can do before we can tell different types of stories with a kind of more collapsed ludonarrative dissonance, if that is even something that people are interested in. Like, that is just like a thought experiment for us. It's like, okay, well, you know, when we talk about it, it's like, can we truly collapse what you do in the game and what is happening in the story, and can it be, is there a research on the other side now, if that makes sense,
Yeah,
to
yeah,
kind of understand what more stories can be told, trying to achieve some similar collapse. Again, that collapse is just an interest of ours, perhaps, not something that everybody needs to do, or etc.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Another thing I think I'm somewhat equally interested in is like, unlike a movie where the protagonist is staged um to like receive whatever emotion that they have to, so that you can impart that emotion to the audience.
Mhm.
um Games means that like a player can do whatever. Like, this is a very impactful scene. Like right now, they're like
Mm,
burning the temple that they themselves built. um and if I just step outside, you can see that temple right there that's been burnt.
Right.
But like, if the player is not in the mood to, if they're not paying attention, or if they're just not vibing with these things, it's really hard to get them to follow the script that's kind of intended for them to receive these emotions.
Mhm.
And that's also a collapse, right? So, and I think what we're really interested in, I think a good narrative designer should give the player every reason to want to act out the script, but also be
I like that.
fundamentally okay if they don't do it. And that's just the nature of games.
No, I like that a lot. Like, giving the player every reason to want to act out the script is interesting, because I think that is a big challenge, and something that I'm always curious about is when you're watching a movie that's on rails, you're following the story as intended, but when you give player agency in a game, there's no guarantee that they play it as intended. So how do you still manage a substantial narrative and having an impactful emotional response to things when people could just run off and do whatever they want, right? So it's
Right.
interesting to see the different solutions that different devs kind of come up with. We do have about a little over 20 minutes left. We've got some
Oh,
flexibility, so
okay.
we can
Should
do
I
whatever you want.
switch over, Remy? Should I switch over now?
are we going to try
Yeah, I think you can
attempts?
do it.
Sure. Okay, you believe in
I
me.
think between the two of you, and I also want to say, like, there's no pressure here. Like, if we attempt to do a single run, which again, for context for our audience, is like over the course of many, 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 many hours, you find the specific series of events to break out of the time loop is the intention. Is that right?
Yeah, break out into what though?
Exactly, right. So it's a series of really specific events. If you guys don't stick the landing, don't worry about it. But I hope and
Good
think
choice
between
of
the
the words.
two of you,
Oh man, I
you'll
don't know.
know exactly kind of what you're getting into here.
So
Do you need the
Abhi's gonna have
walkthrough?
to. Well,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to remind me where to go. Oh, I know where immediately I have to go, but from then on, you're gonna have to
Yeah. I
give me
have
some
the guide
direction
here.
here.
Yeah.
If okay, just to the audience, like if you don't want Outer Wild spoilers and you're still around, now is the time. Now is the time. I promise we won't say anything about narrative design for the rest of the stream.
Perfect. There we go. I remember trying to get the final loop done and like coming up short just a handful of times, and it being like but it had this really fun balance of, it was soul crushing because so many things went right until they didn't, but just enough for me to be like, okay, one more, just give me one more, give me one
Yeah.
Yeah.
more here, and it worked so well.
Oh shoot.
I think one testament, the fact that like Remy knows exactly, like at least how to start the loop, like how to start this process, even though it's been years,
Yeah.
is a testament to how memorable the game is.
Mhm.
Because every planet is so unique, and like getting to that planet is so unique and so interesting that it's kind of extremely, the level design itself is super memorable. Like right now, I'm surprised I remember as well as much as I did about
Yeah.
Echoes of TI.
Mhm.
And I think that's a humongous testament to the game.
Okay. So, um, is the most optimal thing to do is just wait?
Yes, you have to wait for the Ash Twin Towers to emerge from the sand.
Yeah. Okay.
You're waiting for the second tower to show up after the sun station.
So should I just land on the planet?
Yeah,
Okay.
it takes about 7 minutes. So
Okay. I guess we can talk about narrative design now.
All
yeah,
right. Okay, good.
I'm
I
sorry,
did
I'm
have a
just
question
breaking my
from
promises left, right, and
No,
center.
you're great.
Sorry.
You're great. We did have a question earlier in the stream from False Bracket, essentially around discussing your game, creating marketing materials, generating hype when a narrative game often relies on its twists and turns. How do you kind of strike that balance of getting people
Oh,
interested and kind of keeping that experience preserved?
um, that's a really hard question, and I
Mhm.
think I don't know if there is definitely no easy answer to that. I mean, for context, like we didn't talk about a lot of what happens in 1000 times resist, and our
yeah,
marketing material, and it made it really challenging to market the game in so many ways, right? Like we couldn't show so much of the game and we couldn't get into specifics. I think um in the end I do think that worked for us. The people did, but it was a gamble for sure because
yeah,
you want to get people through the door. um and
yeah.
yeah, I don't know, it's very difficult. I mean, that's just our experience with it.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah. I think the best thing we can do is to like acknowledge that like
Mhm.
it's really hard because we wish we could tell you that there's like one solution or
Mhm.
framework to follow. But like I think um, the kind of story, like the way I approached my first game is very different than the way I approached my second game. I think
Right.
because I think I have more room to kind of get a buy-in from people having done something in the first game. But when you're completely outside the industry, like both Remy and I were before our first games, you have to like hope whatever you're showing is hooky enough for. And in Remy's case, like the game is so wild, from what it's presented as and how it keeps changing and evolving. It must have been really hard. I think I think to hold all that hold all that in. Yeah.
I will say, and
Oh,
I
shoot,
didn't
what's
ask the
going on?
question just to propose our
Oh,
own solution, but we do have a stream next Tuesday about how to make a video game trailer, and we have an expert coming in. That's his whole
oh,
job. Creates a lot of indie game trailers.
who's coming in?
Who's the
Derek,
expert?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
you guys know Derek, so
Well, I only
already
know
the
of
resume.
Derek.
Yes.
Exactly. And that's enough, right? So if you guys will do want to learn, because that is something that we're going to discuss in terms of trailers specifically, what genres are particularly challenging, what are some kind of tips that you can use to set yourself up. That is something that we will be discussing because, like you guys said, it's not an easy thing to do, and especially for narrative games, it's a challenge. So remind me, is one planet eating the other planet right now?
Well, I guess the sand from one planet is being transferred
Got
to
it.
the other, which is
Yeah.
yeah. Which is the
And
second tower here?
which is the second?
It's like this one?
Yeah. Has it emerged? Yeah, I think it's that one.
Okay. Oh god.
Yes, I'm seeing it. Yeah.
What's a safe place to park though? I
Do you
think it
need
has
the? Yeah, yes, you do need a ship. Yeah.
I need to park like here. Is this it though? I don't know.
To be honest, I'm not sure either.
Okay.
But it's okay if you don't
Okay.
make it. the entire Outer Wilds dev team is watching, I'm sure. At this point.
I know that you guys, as we were planning this, you were like, "Oh man, we have such respect for the people that worked on this team." I do believe Saver, who helped us put the stream together as well, had a conversation with them recently and mentioned that we were doing the stream. So I don't think that they're all here, but at least they Saver communicated the appreciation along the way for you.
Glad.
Thank you.
Is this not it?
I just think I'm parked in like a really bad place because like there's gonna be nothing there.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh yeah, here's the bridge. Okay, I remember.
Oh, you want to
now.
park? Yeah.
Oh shit. Yeah.
You're fine.
Yeah, okay. Okay, I'm gonna park here. Maybe this is.
It's good. Like replaying this game in this stream is like even now it's very inspiring. Like a lot of the things that I'm noticing and seeing. So I'm grateful for this opportunity.
Oh, I've been grateful to have you guys here. I'm glad it finally worked out.
So this is interesting because I know that this tower is something like finding this tower in the Ash Twin project and guiding players here has been kind of haunting the dev team in terms of like they've been patched different. They keep patching how information that may lead you here. Wait a minute, is it here?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And then I don't know what they did to solve this, but you know, funny enough, I think I got the best experience of this where I was just walking around and I accidentally did what I'm just doing and discovered the Ash Twin project completely by accident, and then the loop immediately ended, and it was like a really magical emergent moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay.
Nice.
Here we go. Oh no.
Is this not it?
This is not the right one. Shoot. It's the other one. Did someone in chat know? Did someone in chat know?
If anyone does have solutions, feel free to let us know in chat. But I think we're guided. We're showing a lot of people a new experience, so I'm not sure that we have.
Is it over? Is it over?
I think it's
over.
I think it's over. Yeah.
It's over? Oh my god, no. Why was it the wrong? It was just the wrong side.
Oh, wait, I see. Wait.
Can we go back? No.
I think you would have to physically go back.
Okay, wait. Oh, we're just on the other side of this.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not.
So you can physically go back, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
This is the northern player is right here.
All right, okay. Yeah, but it's gonna be a tight one.
Yeah. It's okay. We knew this was a long shot.
Yeah.
I always found piloting the ship very disorienting. Not from any game mechanic perspective, because it's actually the controls are very tight, but just from the constantly changing perspective, breaking my brain.
Right. Yeah. I do think that the ship is intentionally meant to be a little rickety to control, and that's kind of the charm. Like when you leave the planet, they're not even confident in their own ship. Like, right, and it's so you're put in contrast to the Nomai who.
Wait, so it's this one with the plants, not this one. Yeah. Oh yeah, they put this body here, I think, or was it always here?
So is the run still alive, we think?
Yeah.
It's possible. It's possible.
Beautiful.
It's necessary.
What is going on?
You're getting sucked up by the sand thing.
No.
Oh no.
Typical Outer Wilds player experience.
Yeah. Oh, my ship. Ugh. All right. Well,
They just want to go land on the quantum moon instead.
so where are we supposed to go? Was that not it?
Wait, Sharon thinks she can help. Should I call her fight for support?
Yeah. Well, Sharon. Yes.
Sharon, do you want to help?
It's not me. I have a contact.
Okay.
Have a contact.
Yeah.
So like, what's going on? Like, what's the? I thought that's what we're supposed to do. Dang.
Wait, who's their contact
Jackie.
from?
Outer Wild.
Her contact is Jackie from Outer Wilds team,
Okay.
which is great.
Oh shoot. But okay. So I'm trying to do this and not get. Okay,
Yeah.
I see. So we are probably gonna run into, but we can see how far we can get.
So
here.
yeah, for sure. You just
So
have
what
to,
do I need?
Yeah, you just have to wait here and you have to dodge the sand. I think that's it.
Okay. Come on. Wow. Yeah.
I thought it was the sun. Was that not the sun that we were waiting for?
No, it is the Ember Twin we're waiting for, right?
Right.
Yeah, right. We got to go inside of it.
Like I said, the stakes are very low. If we don't get through it, it's okay.
Oh, totally. It's fun. Yeah. But I will try.
I know we want to. I know it's the love of the game that's motivating us.
Okay.
Like it is in
Oh
there.
no, I
right?
can't.
Yeah,
I can't. No, I did it again. Ah.
Is it that you wait for the sand to pass and then immediately go in?
That seems strange.
Sungrass Press says standing in the little alcove off to the side helps with avoiding the brunt of the sand pillar.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see if I can get on the ship before it. Okay, no, I won't.
Yeah, you need to run. Okay, from the source, you need to run in right as the sand comes in to not get pulled up. Stand in the little shelf area behind you. And then they said, "Run! The sand is coming." Back up, no. And then they said, "LOL." So
that's kind of funny because did they change that? Because I don't remember.
Remy is pulling the. You guys changed it. It's not me right now.
Yeah. Because I remember just being able to look up. I don't know why, or maybe
I think that's the other warp zone, right?
The little cubby.
I'm glad I'm not attempting this. I will say Remy is very brave for volunteering.
Remy, thank you for being brave. We appreciate you.
Oh God. Truly.
So the cool thing, and this is actually cool because this is what Remy was talking about earlier, which is like when the stakes are so high in a game, and you fail, there's a player story of like I was supposed to be the chosen one who kind of solves this whole thing, but I messed it up so badly. But with Outer Wilds, the beauty is that like you messing up is part of the story. You're supposed to do this many times, because once again you're not a species that's it's only now starting to figure out time travel. Yeah, so you wait here, Remy, and then you wait for the sand, and then you run in.
And you guys just let me know at any time if you've decided that time-wise we're not gonna make it through on this run. But
we're definitely not gonna get to the end of the game.
It's Joe, but
we're gonna attempt.
All right,
do a proper attempt here. Okay, so now do I step in?
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Oh yeah, here we go.
Yeah, okay. There you go. Perfect.
All right.
Yeah. So now you go in and you take the.
This game is so good.
Yeah. Go to the end, I think, and then you take the.
We gotta do this, right?
Yeah, you have to take the warp core. You have to remove it.
But then we do it. We gotta bring it up like this.
Yeah, you have to move the ball up. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And then
And
I think you
then
have
we
to
have to
take the
turn
gravity
gravity
switch. Yeah, turn the gravity off. Yeah. It's cool. And then now you can like free form.
Jackie says her work here is done.
Yeah. So take it and then now return to the ship. Oh my god, is this going to be possible?
Okay, how do I get out again?
You have to warp back. You have to warp back.
Like here, this way?
Yeah. The same way you came in.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And then now you go back to your ship.
Okay. My ship is on the other planet now.
Thanks, Jackie. Big fan.
Thank you to Jackie.
Did Jackie actually help us here?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Ah, the music is playing.
Oh no. That's okay.
It's okay. And I can't get back to my ship right now. So, I don't remember having to do that, but
So I do think it was always there like that.
Yeah.
You don't have to look up is the thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
well,
Now you have to go to Bramble, right?
Yeah.
Or Bramble, yeah.
and thematically,
Music's what? 2-minute countdown?
I don't know.
I think it's less than that. Maybe.
That's Brittle Hollow. Shoot.
Yeah, Dark Bramble's over there. Yeah.
Dark Bramble, that one messed me up. That one freaked me out a lot more than I expected to.
That was the most actively scary part.
Yeah.
Until I played Echoes of the Eye, where they turned it up even more.
Mm-hmm. How many different planets were in the solar system again? Like 8? Question mark?
Let me try to answer that. Remy, you there's Dark Bramble, there is Brittle Hollow, there is Timberheart, there is Ash Twins, that's 5. There's the Comet, 6. There's the Stranger, 7. There's one more. There's the one that Chet is on. That's 8. There might be 9. Yeah. Okay, watch out. You want to go into the red.
So this was without a doubt the most intense part of the game for me.
Yes.
Because these are essentially space anglerfish, each of the lights.
What am I not supposed to do again? What am I not
You're not supposed to
do
move fast. You're supposed to go slow. Because the noise is what attracts them. Actually, failure in this specific run doesn't collapse because you took out the time loop.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, now you watch out. All right.
Yes, these things.
Fuck.
Shit. No.
Nom.
I should have just gone through.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Well, so
You
this is
are-
interesting. This is not a thing that,
Oh, yeah. That's a good point. Typically, it doesn't give you are dead, but because we removed the device creating the time loop, instead of going back to the beginning, you are dead. Dead.
That's why the credits are rolling, because this is an actual ending for the game.
Sure.
And there's a few different endings that are really cool. Like especially with the Stranger, there's a couple more that unlocks. Because the idea with the Stranger is that they want to just like live forever. So once they detect the supernovas happening, they shoot off to the edges of the solar system to kind of escape the effects. So you can live there, but it's a very lonely existence. which is cool. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, gang, I really appreciate you both joining us, Abhi and Remy. I'm so glad that we were finally able to make this happen. Unity community, thank you for joining us today. Please go and check out Venba and 1000xRESIST on Steam. Both of those links are in the chat right now. Again, Abhi, Remy, thank you so much for taking the time. We know that this is it's been not an easy one to pull you both in for, so we really appreciate the flexibility and the willingness to be here. Thank you for sharing all of your knowledge and experience as well. We really, really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Of course, of course. We are going to send you guys to backstage and now Unity community. It's just you and I, of course. I'm going to remind you, you know already, go and check out the Discord and discussions pages. Connect with your fellow Unity community members as we so often love to see you do. You guys have been absolutely excellent today, especially carrying on your own conversations about the topic, engaging with each other, building off of your own ideas. I absolutely love it. Next stream we have coming up here is on Thursday, and we are going to be showing you how to use, create stunning lighting using the universal render pipeline, that URP goodness. So if you want to find a way to make all of your scenes look beautiful, come on by. That's actually going to be a free pro training session hosted by the one and only Sarah Applebaum, which we're very, very excited for. So come on back on Thursday, July 31st at 12 p.m. Eastern. That's 9 a.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. GMT. We will always be excited to have you. So that's it for us here on the stream. I hope you all had a fantastic time. If you joined in flight, make sure to head on back to the YouTube VOD and check out the full stream. If you have any ideas for streams, things that you want to learn, concepts you want to hear more about, please drop a comment on this YouTube video. Until I see you all again at Unity Community, my name is Jackson. Have a great rest of your day.